And discovery is really a method to uncover opportunity. There's a methodology to it. There's psychology behind it. Let me kind of give you an example of one of the techniques we use, and there's several ways to do this, but one of the techniques we use is through what we call a discovery meeting. And in order to do the discovery, we sit down with the client. We try to get about 8 people to join us for the discovery. It's usually 4 people from the corporate real estate department, somebody from the C-suite, somebody from operations or a business unit member, somebody who has a vested interest in the success of the corporate real estate department but is not part of the organization, and usually somebody that is from IT or HR or some of the other service organizations within the company. That gives us a good cross-section of people. And what we do is we say, we're going to talk about different things. We're going to talk about corporate goals, business unit goals, real estate issues, real estate drivers, all of those types of things. Now, when you get a team in a room like that, they're not going to raise their hand and talk about problems. It's just human nature not to sort of draw attention to yourself or to be considered the whistleblower or anything like that. So one of the things that we use, and it's a tool, is a set of discovery cards. And the discovery cards are a set of what look like playing cards, and they have problem statements on them. And what we do is we hand everybody a deck of these cards, and we say, look through the deck of cards and pull out the top 5 cards that describe issues and challenges that you have in getting things done in your day-to-day job. And everybody in the room will look through those cards, and they'll pull out 5 cards. Then we'll ask them to turn those cards face down and push them to the middle of the table. They push them to the middle of the table. We give everybody a break, send them outside. We look at the cards. We look at the problem statements that people have highlighted. Typically, there are 2 or 3, 4 that show up most often. And we pull those cards out, and then we put the rest of the cards away. We invite everybody back into the room. When we do that, we say, okay, we're going to spend the rest of the day discussing the problems that have been highlighted here. And, those cards then represent a consensus of what some of the challenges are in the business. Now, we'll only pull out 3 of the cards, even though we, might have seen 10 different cards show up in the pile. We'll pull out the ones that show up the most often. By doing this, we've done 2 things. We've created safety and anonymity. And by doing that, what we've also done is sort of broken that barrier to communication. Because those cards are on the table, nobody has to raise their hand and say, this is a problem or that is a problem. They've already communicated what the problem is, and they've done it anonymously.
So safety and anonymity, and who wouldn't want to feel safer with a sales guy in his office, right?
Well, yeah, that's one way to look at it, but it's also the safety and anonymity because you could be the person in the room that's sitting next to your boss.
Right.
And you don't necessarily want to be the one who calls out an issue and has your boss know that you believe that that's an issue, even though the boss might believe the same thing. It's just a little bit more challenging to speak your mind when you've got your boss sitting next to you.
Oh, come on. We've never met anyone who was afraid of saying something in front of his boss.
Well, it's funny, but X-Plane, which is the company that put these discovery cards out originally, had a methodology behind it and found that when they use these tools in a group setting, they have a lot more open and freewheeling conversation that takes place as a result. And it's just proven that when you don't have to fear anything about what you say or what you do, then you're a lot more willing to open up and disclose more information about your business.
So, to paraphrase, these cards help you systematically identify opportunities, right? I mean, I suppose you could do this on your own, but the cards can help make sure you touch all the bases. Is that about the gist of it?
Yes, and the other thing that the cards do, in addition to going deeper with the client, is that they then allow people to voice other ideas about solutions. And there's a whole set of cards that highlight solutions as well. It's the second set of the same cards. So later on in the process, what you're going to do is you're going to hand out the same deck of cards, but with the different ones that have the solution statements on them, and you're going to have the client come back to you and tell you what would be a solution, what ideas that they might have that would help solve some of those problems. So in essence, what you're doing is you're having the client frame what a solution might look like, and you're going to obviously go through a set of questions that are going to talk about the obstacles and the ramifications to implementing some of those things. But at the end of the day, a real collaborative process. You're not coming to the client and saying, hey, I have your solution. You're going to the client and saying, let's build the solution together, which we will ultimately help provide for you, but you're going to help design it so that you're bought into it.